And just as a reminder, a couple weeks ago, this is how the Post reported then. President Trump went after Supreme Court Justices Sotomayor and Ruth Bader Ginsburg in a pair of tweets and at a news conference in India, when the fucker was in India. A few days after Sotomayor issued a dissent critical of the Trump administration's legal strategy and the court's majority for enabling it. That was the, what did they call it? I forget the phrase. It's in here somewhere. But anyway, Trump tweeted just before appearing at a welcome ceremony at the dictator Narendra. What's the Indian leader's last name, Kathy? I'm having one of my famous brain farts. Modi, never mind. It just slipped my mind. I should write all these names down. I've always had trouble with names. It was funny. Kathy, in half jest, one time said to somebody, "Well, Mike's forgetfulness, you don't think he's drifting into early Alzheimer's?" And this person looked at Kathy and said, "Early? Do you realize how old your husband is? He can't have early anything." Everything for him now, Kathy, is late. So no, it's not early Alzheimer's. It's just I've never been able to remember names. Right, Susan? Oh, wait a minute. Kathy? Anyway, he's there with Modi. When he makes these statements, these accusations against Ginsburg and Sotomayor, and the way the Post reported, tweeting just before appearing at a welcome ceremony at the Indian president's ceremonial residence in New Delhi, Trump cited a Laura Ingraham, that bitch, another thing floating in the Fox toilet, Laura Ingraham. So she makes a statement, and Trump, even when this unconscionable prick is in India, he's listening to Fox so that they'll feed him lines. It used to be the other way. Hannity always only took the lines that were offered up by the Republican National Committee. I watched a fucker do that for 20 years. 10 of them here in Atlanta. You would get the sheet of talking points from the RNC in the morning. Every radio station would get them. And sure as fuck, by the time Hannity came on in the afternoon, he would be reading the talking points from the RNC. Now it's just reversed. Hannity, in his great wisdom from all these years treading water in a goddamn toilet bowl, he offers up shit that Trump picks up. And so does the bitch Ingram and the bitch Hannity. I use the term bitch not in the sexist manner. I just hate them. Anyway, Trump cited a Laura Ingraham segment on Fox News titled Sotomayor accuses GOP-appointed justices of being biased in favor of Trump. You know, somebody ought to go to Ingraham and just say to her, "Bitch, do you not remember when Trump talks about Obama judges? What the fuck are you talking about?" You know what Miss Ingraham would say? Oh, go away, please, go away. I get very upset about everything that happens on Fox because this is my first exposure in my life. My first exposure with a real propaganda machine, a fifth column in the United States, Fox, that is almost a totally owned subsidiary of the fascist movement that is in a number of countries right now. I've never been exposed. I've been exposed to right-wing talk show hosts who had strong opinions on the right as strong as mine on the left, but that's not what Fox is. Fox is a propaganda machine that is run on the same model of disinformation that the Soviet Union used and the Nazis used constantly. They are following the Nazi playbook, backed up by an attitude that was put out there by the Soviet communists from the 30s on. And the playbook tells you how to destroy what's left of a democracy. Destroy it. And that's what Fox is doing. So every time one of these bitches and bastards on Fox Sewer says something cutesy-poo like Sotomayor accuses Republican justices of being biased in favor of Trump, and you hear that, or it turns out, not that you hear it, neither do I, but it comes up, and Trump tweets it. It's just another example of how it's been reversed. They say shit in the toilet that Trump picks up and sends out to his 72 million followers, half of which are fake. Trump said of Sotomayor a couple of weeks ago, quote, trying to shame some of her associate justices, trying to shame some into voting her way. She never criticized Justice Ginsburg when she called me a faker. Well, you fucker. That's because you are. Both should recuse themselves on all Trump or Trump-related matters. While elections have consequences, I only ask for fairness, especially when it comes to decisions made by the United States Supreme Court. Oh, fuck you, Trump. You only ask for fairness. You miserable ass. And then this orange asshole doubled down on his criticism during a news conference the next morning in New Delhi, a news conference that Modi didn't even attend. Modi doesn't do news or press conferences because he might get a wrong question and then he'll have to order somebody assassinated. Oh, not where you and I or the people of India would know that he ordered the assassination, but that's how Modi works. That's how every dictator, especially in India, if the person who asked the impertinent question happens to be a Muslim, that person will wind up dead and his family disappeared. So Modi, rather than get into all that shit, he doesn't do press conferences. Trump doesn't do them either, unless he's got some little piece of shit like this that he wants to put out there because he heard of it on the Fox toilet shows. So he said at this news conference on Tuesday in New Delhi, he told reporters that the basis for his belief that the justices should recuse themselves, Sotomayor and Ginsburg, the basis was, quote, very obvious. Oh, you poor little shit, you. He said, quote, I always thought, frankly, that Justice Ginsburg should do it because she went wild during the campaign when I was running. Ruth Bader Ginsburg went wild? You crazy fucker. Wild? What the fuck does that mean? You go wild, you dumb shit. This is a nice old Jewish grandmother. What the fuck are you talking about? Wild? You know what wild would be for her? Putting mustard on her matzo ball. That would be wild. Trump added, quote, I don't know who she was for. Perhaps she was for Hillary Clinton, if you can believe it. But she said some things that were obviously very inappropriate. And he keeps going. She later sort of apologized. I wouldn't say it was an apology, but she sort of apologized. I wouldn't say I'm human, but I'm sort of human. I wouldn't say that. And then Justice Sotomayor said what she said yesterday. You know very well what she said yesterday. It was a big story. He has no fucking idea. It was a big story, one place, on the Fox toilet. And the little floaters in there are the ones who brought it up. What do you mean, big story? Well, if the only thing you listen to is Fox, anything you hear is big. If your brain is shaped like a fucking hammer, everything you see is a nail. He went on. You know very well what she said yesterday. It was a big story. Now, if he would have been honest, he would say, I have no fucking idea what she said, but I know my good friend Laura Ingraham or Sean Hannity brought it up, so it must be a big story. And then he added, and I just don't know how they cannot recuse themselves for having anything to do with Trump or Trump-related. When somebody talks about themselves in the third person, I want to reach for my whip. You know what I'm saying? Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcast. You have your choice. You can listen to The Ranting with the audio podcast or listen and watch me lose control with a video podcast subscription. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.